Happy New Year, guys. Welcome to the Conscious Cowboys. You've got Tess and Madison, and it's our first time recording in 2023.
Wow. We're new people.
Yeah. That was funny. I'll leave that there. We are going to do a little episode on kind of recapping things that we've learned from this past year.
Mm-hmm.
And then what are we trying to cultivate more of for this upcoming year?
Perfect.
And before we dive in, Matt, how are you? We haven't done that in a
We
while.
haven't. I feel good today.
That's good. That's important.
Well, because I'm like, I have to obviously think about it other than a generic, like, yeah, I'm good. But yeah, I feel good. I'm happy. Yeah, I feel happy today, which is good.
Great.
Yeah. I know that's like a very simple answer. I'm trying to think of like
No, that's good.
my day, and I feel excited for the new year,
Mm-hmm.
So that's cool.
Good.
Yeah. How are you?
Good. I feel very refreshed.
Great.
We went to bed at 10:30 on New Year's Eve.
We did.
We did not.
By choice.
We did not go out and party and do cool shit on New Year's Eve. We did do cool shit.
Mm-hmm.
We laid very low and we had good food and watched movies, and it was so nice.
Yeah,
So,
it was honestly like needed after the wild year.
yeah. It was like a really nice come down.
Yeah.
And I had most of last week off work-wise. You worked your ass off last week. And that might be why I feel so refreshed, is because like I actually had time off.
Oh, right. Yes.
Time off from the pod, time off from work.
Yeah.
Just everything.
Yeah.
So I feel pretty good.
Yeah. And it was nice to have a break from podcasting, because then it kind of makes you miss it a little.
Totally.
Yeah. Because I was excited to podcast today. I feel like that contributed to my happiness.
Great.
Yeah.
Okay. Shall we get into recapping 2022 and kind of like what we extracted from it in terms of things we've learned, some life lessons?
Yes.
Yeah.
Take
Okay.
it away.
Well, I will start by saying that when we were talking about this, I really wrapped my brain around the fact that my life today looks very different from how it looked this time last year.
Yes.
Like I feel like almost everything in my life, not everything, because obviously I still have my people and like I'm in the town that I was. So there's things that have not changed. But for the most part, like the way I feel inside and kind of like my MVPs that I surround myself with on a day-to-day basis, that has totally changed.
Yeah.
And so what that leads me to is my first kind of takeaway is it's okay to change your life. I think for a while I was really afraid of change and I kind of avoided it.
Mm-hmm.
And that kept me in places where I wasn't happy. And to be able to fucking uproot everything that I had built and I don't know, like worked for and thought I wanted, to change all of that was so scary. But then it taught me that like I'm capable of changing my life and I can find happiness in other ways.
Yeah.
So that's like my first one.
Yeah.
We'll
That's
leave that
huge.
there. Yeah.
Yeah. I love it. I have to say that when I was thinking about this prompt is that it felt, well, many things. Okay. So obviously Tess had a big life change, as we all did, I feel like this year, and a lot of people do, but
We can be
you're
more
newly
explicit.
single.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're
Yeah.
newly single at the beginning of this year after a long relationship. And I was just continuing on my path of, finding myself and growing, whatever, establishing my life. And I was getting down on myself when we were talking about this, which has to do with a takeaway that I will go into the new year with. But anyway, I was getting down on myself because I didn't have some philosophical answer to this prompt, but I more so had reminders of experiences that I had this last year that just reminded me of lessons that I had already learned, but it just kind of really taught me them, And who's to say if I won't go back on them again and kind of start from the beginning. But one that I'll say that I learned, and it's the most prevalent one, is that I learned a lot of what I'm capable of, which I definitely think that I'll continue to learn that day to day for the rest of my life. But I don't know. It's not that I hit rock bottom, but like with certain things I did and mentally, and my capability to climb out of that, I think was really impressive in my opinion. And it was like a mental battle. So
Oh my God.
I'm happy for that.
I just started feeling tears well up in my eyes because I feel like, fuck, like we hugged each other last night or was it the night before we were going to bed?
No, it was last night.
And I was
right?
just like, I don't know. I was just like, honestly, we have been through so much shit together this past year. Like, I know that we would have made it without each other, obviously.
Yeah.
But like, you were a huge part of why I was able to keep my sanity, even though we lost it a few times along the way. Like, oh, thank God we had each other.
Seriously. we were on one last
High
night, right
highs
before bed. Yeah.
and low lows.
Yes.
Last year. Yeah.
It was gnarly. But we were like, should we podcast right now? And it was like 10 at night. And we're
because
like, hold on.
we were being wild and we were riffing off each other and so much was coming out. And I was like, oh my God, we should grab the mics. But no, we needed to wake up for work this morning.
We're like, maybe not.
No.
I also think it would have just been crazy as fuck to listen back to. It probably would have been funny. We'll do it one time, I'm sure.
Okay. Well, I love that. And I agree that you were tested in many ways this past year and you showed yourself.
Yeah. And I can't remember. I wish that I remembered this quote, but it was talking about something like I'm very grateful for the experiences, even though a lot of them are really shitty, but it just taught me a lot about myself. And I was reading something. It was talking about like why, I don't want to butcher it, but it was talking about how we complain that we have a lot on our plate, even though we said we were hungry. Like something along those lines. And I was like, oh, yes, that's true. Like I want this and I want growth and I want a lot for myself and for us. So, that comes with the ups and downs.
Yeah. Mine, another one is along the lines of the whole, like, it's okay to change your life, is that you're going to find your footing. Like, I think about it in terms of us and a lot of times how we question, like, are we going to be okay? Like, we know we're going to be okay, but there's so many moments where we're like, shit, like we are treading water here. And I always remind myself that, like, dude, you land on your feet. Like, yeah, it's scary. Like you're free falling for a second, but you always end up on your fucking feet.
Yes.
Like you always find your footing. You always figure it out. So that's just a little reminder to myself and maybe for you, if you feel like you've been through a lot of change, you're about to go through a lot of change, like you're going to find your footing and you're going to be fine. You're going to be great.
Yeah. I wrote something like that down, but it was just a little different in terms of verbiage or the words.
Because it's not as visual.
No, I wrote, maybe. But it kind of taps into one of the other things we said in a few episodes ago is that doing the best we can, like we always strive to do the best we can. And I wrote that in my journal of saying like, doing the best you can will never fail you. And we learned that a lot this year. Yeah. Even when I have a lot of self-doubt, sometimes I get in that mood, but it always works out. Yeah.
Is that going to be your turn right there?
Yeah, I can add that.
Okay.
I have like the things that I wrote, if you could see my journal, it's literally
Can you share
ridiculous. More? Well, there are a bunch of
because I feel like I
things.
just talked a lot.
No, I don't think so. I can say that. Oh, this is a reminder, and this is kind of a small one, maybe for me, maybe it's big, is that validation from others is fleeting. And I know that, and I've known that for a long time, but I was reminded of that multiple times this year of like, no matter how much attention that I got from external sources, whatever that attention may be, it didn't matter really. Like it feels good for a second. And then the other second I'm like, no, but I have to believe it. Because if I don't believe it, it doesn't mean shit.
You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to marinate in that one. Oh, okay. This one, and I know we'll agree heavily on this, is to stay well connected to your people.
Oh my gosh.
Because they are your grounding element.
Yes.
I mean, at least we can speak on our behalf of like, that's what grounds us. Is, as we've been mentioning this year, there were like high highs and low lows. And it was nice to have our people that we could rely on and share all of that with. Whether that's me and you, our friends, our family, whatever. Like just stay connected and not just like dump your shit on them, but also open your stuff up or like open yourself up to hear what they're going through and be there for them. I feel like there's always such a fine balance that you have to find because you can like, you maybe not. This is how I am. I can easily share my life. And then sometimes I'm like, oh, I kind of forgot to ask.
Yeah.
But you're the opposite.
Yeah, I want to hear other people's,
Yeah.
and then I'll pitch in if I feel like it.
Right.
Yeah, I think I do that because talking about myself feels weird, to be honest. And also, I really love to hear from other people. Like, I find so much connection in hearing people's stories or yours, for example, if we're chatting. And then I feel the connection in my life because I'm like, oh, dude, I went through that like a week ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I just kind of sit with it and I don't really share until I have like some thought that I put together. And then, yeah. But I would agree with that point for sure. I wrote that down too.
And one I need to add to that, because it's on the same note before we move on from it, is like, it's okay if your people change. Like who those people are in your life that you feel connected to. It's okay if that changes, because it makes room for new people to come in and different and maybe even sometimes deeper connections to be formed.
Right. Because it does change. And I was talking to Tess, we were talking about this the other day, is that I have a lot of good, close girlfriends, and to go through seasons with each of them, like, it doesn't mean that I forgot about them. It's just like at this moment, our lives don't necessarily coincide with each other, but we still love each other and we still talk from time to time. But I used to get sad about that. And I used to think that like it needed to be constant in order for it to be upheld. But now I don't feel that way because the bond honestly grows stronger.
Right.
Yeah.
And like when you get back together with them and it feels like barely any time has passed, even though it all has.
Yeah.
That's a way that I always measure, like, oh no, me and this person
we're solid. Yeah, I would agree. Yeah. And then I'll add to that is that I definitely, even though I guess this is on the same page, is that I'm very grateful for our friendship, which we voice this all the time to each other. But like, I can't. It's like indescribable, honestly. Right? Yeah. Like, we needed it. The universe is like, here you go.
Yeah.
You're welcome, bitches. Thought you didn't get what you asked for ever? I'm like, no. Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah. One that I noted here was to keep putting yourself out there and retreat when needed to recalibrate. And in every element, like for Cowboys, there was moments where I felt like I was literally doing this like butt naked, where I was like, you guys are seeing like every little ounce of me. And it felt really vulnerable and really scary. And we had to push past that and keep going. And then for the retreat, when you need to recalibrate, it's on the same tone of like, you know yourself well. And so like whether you're in the dating world or you're trying really hard with friends or a job or whatever it may be, you're trying to pursue something new, keep doing it because it's going to pay off. And then if you really feel like shit, I'm like maxing out, then take a step back for a second, recalibrate, recollect, and then go back in for it. I feel like that was a big learning lesson for me this year, was like, just keep going. Like, don't let shit scare you.
Yes. Yeah, I would say we had a lot of time, or we gave ourselves time to reflect on things that scared us. Like if a situation happened, we'd be like, all right, we need to hide out for a little bit. But I think that is necessary sometimes. And that's like a privilege that we have of this platform not being, super huge yet, is that we're able to retreat and people not be like, where are they?
Yeah, but even if it was super huge, I feel like you can still do that.
And we will.
And yeah, and then that creates a sense of normalcy and human connection there, because everybody has those feelings and you should act on them if you have them.
Yes. Agreed. Yeah, that's a great one.
Thanks.
And
is there any others?
I mean, I have many, but one that I have to remind myself all the time, and I sound like a broken record, is to be easier on myself.
Yeah.
Always. Oh my God. Sometimes I get so annoyed with myself. I'm just like, honestly, shut up. Like, be nicer. Are you kidding?
I know.
It's crazy because the expectations that I have of myself and like the standard I have is just so high. And a lot of times I don't meet that expectation because I don't even know if it exists, like if it's possible for me. So when I don't meet it, I feel guilty or upset. It's just like, all right, we need to just cool it. Because again, I'm trying the best I can. So it needs to be enough.
Yeah. We always talk about how we feel very fortunate that we do have such big goals and aspirations and a lot of like drive within ourselves to go accomplish these things. And then it's always really tough when you have these like great intentions and you know that you think that you're really capable of it all.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like a lot of times we just fill it up too much and then we're like, I've got nothing left.
Yeah.
Like I need to fucking slow down and honor the fact that I can't
At
add
this
any
time.
more right now.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
not that it won't ever happen. It's
Yes.
just right this second.
Yeah.
I need to focus on like one thing at a time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Trust in the timing, which is always a lesson to be learned.
Yeah. And that was the final one that I had written down was trust your timing.
Yes. I wrote that one down too, because I always see it, divine timing. And I always just remind myself of that.
Well, and I can speak back on this past year with trusting my timing. Like there were so many times where I thought about making life changes or I felt like, oh, I should be pushing or going here, or doing this. But I didn't know it was time until I knew it was time. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Like if I was still mulling it over in my head and I didn't feel 100% on it, then that wasn't my time yet. But then once I got the confidence and the trigger, I was like, go. Yeah. You know, make those changes in your life. So I don't know. Trust in your timing is a big one for me that I learned this year for sure.
Yeah. And I feel like you could even relate that back to you wanting to trust your instincts more and your intuition. And you have been doing that and it's helped you to make decisions.
Yeah, I don't necessarily. I feel like if you guys have been a long time listener, that was something I really struggled with. Mm-hmm. I like couldn't make a decision to save my life. That was my whole story. Ew.
Right.
No, and that doesn't happen anymore, really. There's still moments where I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah,
but
which
is so different now.
Yes. Yeah, a lot different. I don't even know what we can attribute that to. I mean, I guess I could
practice
think about
and influence
things.
From you is what I can attribute it to.
Yeah, I don't know. And I think just like actually deciding like what you want and who you want to be just like helped you make the smaller decisions that weren't lining up.
Right. Because then I knew where I was rooted in and then I could base it. It's like, does this match or does it not? If it doesn't, or if I'm not sure, then no.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay, cool. So this year, 2023, what are you trying to bring more of into your life? What are you trying to cultivate?
Okay, well, there are many things. One is...
I mean, what aren't we, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
That's such a broad question.
I know. I mean, there's many things. It's like I wrote down expansion in everything and even becoming more me, like more of myself. I'm really excited to be a part of that process because I already like who I am a lot. And there are some things that aren't my favorite, but that's okay. And I'm excited to see what I am capable of and what I end up doing and who I become. So that's exciting.
Cute. Yeah. Fuck yeah. I never really think about that, but like how you were saying, I'm excited to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. Because that's what it is. It feels like a collaboration, you know?
Yeah.
With you, like your brain, and then like who you think you want to be or like where you want to get to.
Yeah, it's honestly like the ultimate creation. Like obviously we have our podcasts and stuff, but we're
like
also
your life,
us. Yeah.
And your psyche and I don't know, all of it.
Yeah. So
those birds.
It's cool. I know there's been a lot of bird noises happening today.
Well, okay, basing it off of my word that I chose for this year, I chose the word adventure, right? So obviously like that lands me with a lot of travel and new experiences. And we've talked about this before, so this won't be news to you unless you're a new listener, but we're planning on moving in a few months because our lease in this place is up. And so we're not sure where we're going to land, but we know that we're not going to land here.
Right.
So yeah, I think that it involves like a lot of new scenery this year.
Yeah, I like that.
Which is a little bit stressful, but I also feel really ready for it.
No, I feel ready for it too. And I would always get kind of like, not antsy, I don't know what the right word is, apprehensive a little bit of saying I'm ready for something because it usually happens or things happen where I'm like, yeah, I'm ready. Like, let's go.
And then the chess piece moves too quick.
Yeah. And I'm like, whoa, that was not the change that I wanted, but it did end up leading to something else.
Okay.
And it turns out to be exactly what I wanted and needed. But yeah, I mean, change, as everyone knows. I feel like that's like such a life lesson or something that I always want to build upon, is being okay in change or with change. And that's really difficult sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I just think about like, I know what I want, but then the process of actually getting there is the pain point.
Right.
Can be, you know,
Yes.
like I know I want to live near the beach, right? Like we want to live near the beach.
Yeah.
Okay. We're not sure where. We're gonna have to find a place. Like there's all these moving parts where I'm like, fuck, that's the pain point.
Right.
You know?
Yes.
Oy.
Right.
And that's just a very small version of the big picture.
That's exactly right.
Yeah. That'll be fun.
Really is. We'll do our best to enjoy the process though.
I'm just gonna have to laugh through it.
We do have to laugh through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We have to laugh through a lot. There's a lot of things that happen on a daily basis where you look at each other and we're just like, if we don't laugh, we'll cry. So
yeah, it's like a cynical laughter, you know? Like you just like have to make a noise for it to feel okay. Yeah. Yes.
Okay, what else you got?
I have all the same stuff. More energy into Cowboys. That's a good one.
Same.
Because we have been talking about this, but when you're trying to build yourself and just make money to pay rent and whatever, be social with your friends, and then you also have a side hustle that you have so much love for, it's hard to distribute your energy evenly, I feel.
Correct.
And I want to be better at that, because sometimes I get like, with the expression, what is it, like a hair up your ass or something? That's a weird expression, but that's what came to my mind. Whatever, like, you know, when an animal gets like wild in the wind or something, that's how I feel. And I get that for Cowboys sometimes, and I go full speed ahead and then I burn out. Typical.
Right.
And then so I'm like, okay, now I need to focus on real life stuff, paying my bills, whatever it is, hang out with friends, and then I forget about Cowboys. So I just need to distribute my energy evenly between everything, and I'm working on it.
Yeah.
And I think we always check in with each other that Cowboys is just it for us.
It's like still the dream.
Feel so passionate about it. And I even notice myself when I'm talking to people or clients that we teach in a Pilates studio that I mention it more now. I don't know why, just because not that I want it more, but I'm just more comfortable with it. Like I'm like, yeah, this is the direction that we're headed.
Yeah.
And we want this. So
yeah. I think what it comes down to is so that we don't hit that like the gas pedal on Cowboys and then we redirect our energy to friends and real life shit and whatever. It's about communicating. Like I have people in my life where I communicate like, hey, I'm like down to catch up and whatever and chat for a few, but then I need like to not be chatting right now. I need to hang out with Madison. We have like to work, like we have to, even if we're not doing stuff for Cowboys, like I have to spend time with you because this relationship is what fosters the growth of Cowboys, right? So I have to communicate like, oh no, sorry. Or like my brother right now, he's like trying to come over and bring something. And I'm like, no, we can't right this second because we have to do this, but after. So communication with others about like, this is one of our priorities. So are you.
Yeah, that's a good one. Yes.
So are you, but this is a priority and I need to give this just as much time as I give you. And then for us, it comes down to like scheduling. Like we actually have to have like more dedicated time.
We do actually need to schedule things, because if you are a longtime listener, or maybe you can just tell this from our vibe, is that we're planners for the most part. We like a plan. And even yesterday, we knew that we needed to come up with ideas for this episode. And in order to make that happen, we had to set aside time and go to a different location other than our apartment so that we could hone in on this. And it worked. It worked. And it literally was the most efficient thing. We went to a coffee shop for like 20 minutes max.
Yeah, maybe
even
less.
And just got it all out. And we're like, oh my God, that was so easy. Instead of drawing it up to be this huge thing and we're like putting it off. And
no, sometimes you just need to change your environment to get your fucking brain working.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to set aside the needed time and be like, yeah, I know you don't feel like doing this right now, but you need to do it for the bigger picture.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And then the last one I wrote was just to not allow the fear of things not being perfect stop me from trying at all.
That's good.
And I think that you and I lean towards that direction of like, we want things to be really, really solid before we push them to the world. And there's a lot of value in that.
Yes.
But sometimes it'll stop me from even trying.
Me too.
Because I'm like, well, fuck, I don't think it's going to be it. Like, I don't think that I'll be able to execute it the way that my brain sees it.
Yeah.
And that stops me from doing it at all. And that's lame as shit.
Yeah, it is. It is.
And
really
everybody listening would be like, you got to push past that, you know?
Yeah. And I think that, I think a lot of people can relate to that because I definitely can in many areas. But it also is a difficult thing to do.
Yeah, but if you just try, then you can make tweaks along the way. Versus if you don't try at all, well, then you're not even putting in effort.
Yeah, which is why we even started Cowboys in the first place too. Like we knew that everything wasn't perfect. Like we started in my dad's house, you know.
I just we really sent it, and I look
Oh
back.
my God,
and that shit's cringy. But you know what? We tweaked it along the way.
Yeah, we did. And we're so proud to be where we are today. And I'm excited to be back this time next year with a whole list of, the same shit.
True.
Yeah.
Hopefully not the same shit. But
no, but same but different.
Yeah.
In a way. But yeah, well, Cowboys will just keep on fucking cruising.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's it for me. For my list, anything from yours that you'd like to include?
I don't think so. I did want to ask you because I thought about this today and I was like,
oh fuck, a surprise question is my favorite
no, I don't
thing.
think so.
Okay.
I don't think it's too much of a surprise because it's
Okay.
a very light one.
Okay.
What were your highlights of this year? And obviously this is not an all-inclusive list because,
Okay.
like
This is spur of the moment.
yeah.
Things that come to mind.
And we have a lot of the same highlights, I feel.
Okay.
So
we'll see about that, won't we?
Mm.
So I would say some of my highlights this year. This is a broad stroke, but I really feel like I found a sense of independence, which I had obviously, but I didn't have in this way.
Mm-hmm.
And like a really strong sense of self right now is what I feel. Like I know my direction and I know what I want. And I'm like not really letting anything stop me from getting that, which is tight.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So that's a highlight. Another highlight is one of my best friends had a baby.
Yeah.
So I'm really excited about that. Another highlight is I reconnected with a group of my close friends that I grew up with. And those relationships within that group are just so special to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm loving that. And then like we got stronger and more dialed in than ever.
Yes.
And I feel like we have the same footsteps. Like we have the same pace right now, which is really cool.
It is really cool. And so rare.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I mean, I feel like I'm grazing over, like we got to travel and do really cool shit. And we learned a lot. And my God, I said this last episode, but I felt like I got pulled in all directions, like really stretched out, which was great because that's where I grew a lot. I'm trying to think of anything else.
Well, mine were more so small things, which I love your list. They're great.
Okay.
Mine were more along the lines of events that happen that I feel like changed us significantly, even if it was a quote unquote small event.
Was it the trip to San Diego?
1,000%.
Yeah.
Specifically that Lucadia weekend, which I don't even care if anyone else involved didn't think it was that monumental.
No,
but
for us.
For us, it just expanded us. It was an expander. We had an episode on this, and I think we talked about people expanding us. But this one event and experience over the weekend was such an expanding weekend for us.
Like life was so good and we were shown so many possibilities.
Yeah. And life was great before that. And then that happened. We were just like, oh my God, it's like a course correction in a way. Like we want to potentially move down south now.
Yeah.
Like to Lucadia.
Right.
Encinitas area, whatever. Oh my God. It was just unreal.
It was like, I don't know, someone opened a book and was like, here you go. This is what you want.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, oh my God, I've never seen it so clearly in my life.
Like
I've
been down here a million times, but now my eyes are open.
Correct.
I understand.
Yep.
And we made an episode after that was called Vacation Blues and Boy Crazy, whatever.
Yeah.
But that was the episode, or we talked about how we were driving back into the town we lived in, and we just were like borderline crying because we were just like
having a crisis.
We just left the best thing in the world, and now we're back here, which we're so grateful for where we live and we love it. But oh my God, yeah. But we reference that a lot just together. It's just hilarious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy that we got to share that. And then another highlight is the Inspired Unemployed for me. And I know you too.
Oh, yeah, guys.
Obsessed with them. I feel like listening to their podcast and seeing their content set us on in a different direction as well, or just like made us more comfortable with creating ourselves. And so I am grateful for that. And I would love to be their
These
friends.
are great, guys. I was not expecting this. And I have the biggest smile because, hell yeah, both of those things.
Yes.
Were total
You'll
course
agree
corrections.
with my third one too.
Let's hear
Okay,
it.
so another highlight, which we try to do every Saturday, is
Oh!
our Malibu, is
Three
our
for three.
Malibu hikes. They're incredible, and to go to Sun Life after and get a smoothie or acai bowl and just spend the day out there, I feel like has been so special. Like our dedication during summer, literally every Saturday we would leave at 6 a.m. because we knew it'd be hot and crowded, and we go do it. And now life is a little bit busier and we don't go every single weekend, but we go every weekend we can, and it is always a special time. Like it's never been shitty. It's always good.
Correct.
Yeah. So
even when we're not prepared for the rain and we leave soaking wet.
that's
and
right.
You know, like it's not always at its perfect
even
conditions.
when we get a phone call
that ruined our day.
it was still good.
It was a good day.
It was still a great day because we did that.
If you know, you know.
Yeah,
you know?
it's so funny. But yeah, I have many more highlights, but I feel like those were very significant.
For me personally, this was the perfect place to end.
Yeah.
Thank you so
I know.
much.
I was like, we need a good laugh, you know?
Yeah, I needed that. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, guys, we're off to a great start, aren't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel I was going to add my word back in to be lame.
You
but
feel curious?
So curious about this year. No, but I do. I feel like a lot of mixed emotions about this upcoming year. And we were talking about this, is that we don't get such excitement for when the new year happens because we're always constantly making changes and kind of setting intentions, but you know, it is kind of fun.
I like to embrace it, you know,
Yeah.
like ride the wave with
Me
everyone
too.
else.
I'm
Party
like, I
wave.
feel
Let's go.
excitement from you guys. I also have this now.
Sure.
Yeah. So let's just make it a great year. Let's just do it. Why not?
And on that note, guys, until next week.
Yay. Talk soon.